So what is required for the court to certify a class for class action purposes? Okay, to start with, the plaintiffs bear the burden of demonstrating that a class is representative at large, that they meet several factors. And the first factor to start with is numerosity. That is, there are a number of plaintiffs together that it is illogical for them to bring similar actions separately. Okay, so the number makes that more efficient that they could bring it together as a class. Okay, commonality, that there's a common issues or common issues collectively of law and fact for each plaintiff. That is, each plaintiff is alleging certain violations of law, and the facts or circumstances around that violation are similar amongst all the plaintiffs. So that's common. And then the typicality of the plaintiffs, okay, that the type of harm suffered by the plaintiffs is typical among all of the different plaintiffs. Okay, that is, if they were discriminated against in hiring practices, that it was the same type of discrimination that they all suffered, that if they were paid an unfair wage, that was the same type. If they weren't promoted as quickly, again, while these seem like subtle differences in the context of employment discrimination, they are different types of harm. So anyway, the court will look to see if the same type of harm was suffered across the class. And then adequacy of a class action proceeding to remedy or alleviate the harm having been suffered or continuing to be suffered by the plaintiffs. Okay, will a class action remedy? Does it offer an adequate outlet for addressing the claims of the plaintiff? And then the court may look at a couple of other issues, such as the risk of inconsistency of judgments. If the plaintiffs were to bring their actions individually against the plaintiffs, would that potentially give rise to inconsistent rulings and judgments? And that inconsistency obviously will lead to appeals and will lead to issues of the consistent application of law throughout jurisdictions. And another issue would be the conduct of the defendant in dealing with these matters or claims by the plaintiffs. Has the defendant or defendants been obstinate in dealing with the plaintiffs in remedying the alleged violations of their rights, or have they been forthcoming or taken measures to alleviate ongoing harms? So again, the court will evaluate these factors to determine. And generally, if you get a yes on all of the first four, and then there is some indication of inconsistency or obstinance of the defendant in this type of matter, you're likely going to be certified as a class.